having gorgeous weather here today in North Carolina. Usually here we have 2 seasons, summer and fall, and you get little tiny sliver at the end of fall for winter and a little tiny sliver right before summer starts for spring. And today is one of the first days I've ever seen here that resembled anything like spring. It's nice and cool outside, mid-upper 60s. And the thing about spring days is it's a great time to go look for wildlife. On hot days, everything digs way down into the ground, into their burrows to get out of the heat, so you don't really get a chance to see anything cool. A day like today, I've already seen a bunch of dead snakes on the road, so snakes are definitely active. Today's the day to look for them. So moving these boards can be kind of a tricky endeavor, because we have a good, 5 or 6 boards deep, and each one is another layer that could have stuff living underneath it. And if I flip them over too quick, I might miss something in the layer. But if I flip them over too slow, we're giving something on a lower layer a chance to get away. And I really want to see if we have anything cool under here. So let's have a look. Let's move this tin. I'm not sure what this is. Tin piece of something out of the way. Anything under this one? It's like that's our top layer. Oh, the peacock did not like that. All right, so this is our first layer, and this has been out here for forever. So it's just rotting away. Crossing my fingers that it's not gonna like break off in my hands as I'm lifting it up. Another side note. So when you're lifting up boards in an area where you could have venomous snakes, spiders, stuff like that, you don't want to reach your fingers all the way underneath, because if there's something underneath there, you might take a bite from something you can't see. So you want to kind of get your fingers, get a good grip, kind of hook them underneath a little bit, and then lift. Oh, we got a snake. First try, a little worm snake. So this is a worm snake. If you're not familiar with the species, you probably wouldn't even recognize this as a reptile. It just looks so different to any other snake in our area that, I mean, at first glance you think maybe it's a really long slug, some kind of amphibian, or maybe even an actual worm. It's probably where it got its name, the worm snake. And then it'll do this with its little tongue, and then you realize, oh, this is actually a snake. It's just a really, really small snake. Now, this guy, you can see, he has really, really small eyes. Worm snakes spend most of their time underground, so while they're not necessarily a rare species, they're definitely rarely seen. So I'm honestly kind of stoked that I found this guy, because, I mean, how often do you see these things, right? These guys are not usually active above ground in any kind of warm weather. They stay way underneath the ground, hiding in burrows, hiding in rotting logs. So I guess this rotting board served as a rotting log for this guy. He's probably just chilling in here eating little bugs and stuff that also live underneath the board. So now one thing that they will do is when you pick them up, they will strike at you, but they're not trying to bite. I actually don't think their mouth is even capable of biting. This guy is actually trying to escape. He doesn't realize my skin isn't the ground, so he's trying to burrow into my skin, but that's what he's trying to do. He's trying to get away. He's still a little cold because it's early in the morning. He's just like wrapping around my fingers, trying to find some kind of crevice you can dig into. Look at that. I'm gonna go ahead and put him back underneath here. I'm gonna slide this board over because we're gonna get underneath the second one and see if we can find anything cool under there too. Alright, so I'm gonna move this board over. I feel like we're just scratching the surface of the cool stuff that could be living underneath here. So, alright, board number 2. Let's see if we can find another wolf spider. Let's see much enough. Oh, yeah. Ooh, big centipede. We had a nice bark centipede, but he got underneath the second board, so I guess the chase is on. bunch of little boards here. I haven't seen anything crawl out of these besides that little centipede that we found. So let's flip these over. Oh, what do you know? Come here, you. Come here. Whoa, 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 whoa. Oh, you're not gonna believe what this is. This is probably even cooler than the worm snake.
Now this guy is the narrow-mouthed toad. This guy might actually be more exciting than the worm snake because these guys are incredibly hard to find. Just like the worm snake, they spend most of their time under things, and these guys are usually only active at night, though I think this guy was probably chilling out under here and absolutely gorging himself because their main source of food is ants, and these boards are absolutely loaded with ants. Now the reason they're able to eat ants and not get stung or have any problems is because the particular kind of mucus they secrete on their skin actually makes them immune to ant stings. However, the same mucus is also very, very irritating, so while you should always wash your hands after handling any amphibian, I would especially stress it after handling a narrow-mouthed toad. You get this stuff in your eyes, mouth, or nose, you're gonna be itchy and burning for quite a while. Now, because of these guys' weird shape, they're not actually very good jumpers. They're actually better burrowers. And their preferred method of escape, as you'll see when I release this guy, is short little hops, almost like they're scurrying away, instead of big leaps like you'll see from a regular toad or a frog.
One of the most important things when you're out exploring for wildlife, you want to make sure you leave everything the way you found it, or at least as close to the way you found it as possible. So I'm going to go ahead and start flipping these boards back over.
Both of these animals are absolutely incredible, and I found them not far from my house. This just goes to show you that you can literally go in your own backyard and find really awesome adventures. You'd be surprised what kind of cool creatures could be lurking underneath random objects in your backyard. So my question for you is, what sort of habitats can you find in your backyard that you'd like to investigate today? Let me know in the comments below, and then tell me what kind of creatures you'll think you'll find in those habitats. If you're into reptile and amphibian content, hit that video to your left. I think you'll really enjoy it. Until then, don't forget to get outside and find your own adventure.